The day I became an outsider in my own family, the moment my grandson entered the world, was the exact moment my son pushed me out of his. Subscribe, because the story begins with heartbreak and ends with a twist no one saw coming. I had imagined my grandson's birth 1,000 times. I pictured holding his tiny hands, kissing his forehead, being the first to whisper, "Grandma loves you," standing beside my son as he became a father, his face soft with wonder, helping, supporting, celebrating. But life doesn't always give you the moments you dream about. Sometimes it hands you a moment that shatters you instead. And that moment came for me in the maternity wing of Crescent Valley Hospital, the night my son kicked me out of the family, all because of 4 words. She only wants family. Words spoken by his wife. Words he obeyed. Words that broke something in me that I didn't think could ever be repaired. But they never imagined who else heard those words, or what would unfold because of them. The call I waited for, and the one I feared. It was 3:12 a.m. when my phone rang. My son, Daniel. I jolted awake, heart pounding. "Mom, it's happening." Her water broke. "We're at the hospital." My breath caught. "Oh, thank God. I'm coming now." "No, wait." But I didn't wait. I was already pulling on my coat, shoving my feet into shoes, keys in hand. This was my first grandchild. My joy, my miracle, my second chance. And deep down, my silent hope for healing the cracks between me and Danielle, my daughter-in-law. But I didn't hear the hesitation in Daniel's voice. Not yet. Everything felt hopeful. I didn't know the night would end with me standing outside in the cold, crying into my own hands, with security watching me like a trespasser.
The hospital room. When I arrived, the lights in the maternity hallway were low. Soft, muted. A nurse led me toward the delivery room. "Room 416, she said. I walked toward it with tears already blurring my vision. My baby boy, my only child, was becoming a father. I reached the door just as a nurse came out. She smiled kindly. "She's doing well. Your son is in there with her." My heart swelled. "Can I go in?" She hesitated. "Let me check." She slipped back inside. A few muffled voices. Then she returned. Her expression suddenly awkward. "You might want to wait a moment," she said. My stomach dropped. "Is something wrong?" No, they're fine. It's just, your daughter-in-law is a bit overwhelmed." I nodded, trying to stay calm. "I understand. I'll wait." I didn't understand. Not at all. But I waited. Minutes passed. 20 minutes. 30. Then the door opened quietly. Daniel stepped out. His eyes were tired. But something else was there too. Fear? Guilt? "Mom," he whispered. "Listen, we need to talk." The sentence that broke our family. I placed my hand on his arm. "Is she okay? Is the baby okay?" "They're fine," he said quickly. "It's just Danielle's stressed. She wants the room quiet." "Of course," I said. "I'll be quiet. I'll stand in the corner, I won't." "Mom." He closed his eyes. And that's when he said it. "Danielle says she only wants family inside." At first, I smiled. "Oh. Well, I'm family. Of course." Daniel didn't smile back. His face tightened. "She means her family." The hallway seemed to tilt beneath me. I don't understand," I whispered. "I am family. I'm your mother." "I know, Mom. But she's in pain and she's overwhelmed, and you agreed with her?" I choked out. He ran a hand through his hair. "It's her birth. She needs who she needs. And she needs me gone." He winced. "Mom, please don't do this here." My voice cracked. You're kicking me out. I'm asking you to go home and rest. We'll call you when. No, I whispered, stepping back. You're kicking me out. His silence confirmed it. Then he added something that stabbed deeper than the cold air outside. Please don't make a scene. Her family is inside. They don't want tension. I stared at him. Her family. Her family was allowed. Her mother. Her father. Her sister. Her cousin. But me? I wasn't wanted. I wasn't considered family. My first grandchild, I whispered. And I'm not allowed to be here. Mom, please. No, I said. I get it. My throat burned. My vision blurred. Everything hurt. And I walked out. I didn't cry until I reached the elevator. Outside in the cold, and hearing what I wasn't meant to hear. Outside, the cold air hit me like a wall. The parking lot was empty. The sky still dark. A faint red glow from the hospital sign flickered over the snow. Snowflakes fell slowly, silently. I wrapped my coat around myself. Feeling small and unwanted. Unmothered. Then the hospital doors slid open behind me. 2 nurses stepped out, talking quietly as they headed to their cars. I wasn't listening at first. Until one said, I still can't believe she said that about his mother. My breath froze. The other nurse sighed. She only wants family, can you imagine saying that? Especially when the poor woman was so excited to be here. My heart pounded. She should have been allowed in, the second nurse added. It's cruel to exclude her like that. She won't admit it, but Danielle didn't want competition, the first whispered. She wants her family to look perfect. And his mother didn't fit her picture. My stomach twisted. Then the second nurse said something. That changed the entire night. And did you hear the other part? He doesn't know yet. They walked farther into the parking lot. My pulse roared in my ears. What other part? What didn't Daniel know? I took a step forward. But they were already too far away. Their words dissolved into the night. But they left one thing behind. A seed of suspicion. A question I couldn't shake. A truth I wasn't supposed to hear. And that truth would unravel everything. The message that confirmed my worst fear. When I got home, I sat in the dark. Alone. Crying quietly so the walls wouldn't hear. My phone buzzed. Daniel. Mom. He's here. 7 pounds 4 ounces. We'll call you tomorrow for a visit. No apology. No warmth. Just a schedule. A permission slip. My hands shook. Then another message came. Not from Daniel. From an unknown number. A voicemail transcribed text. I'm sorry you weren't allowed in. You deserve to know the truth. Call me. It ended with a name. Nurse L. My breath stopped. A nurse had reached out. A nurse who saw the whole thing. Heard the whole thing. Knew something I didn't. Something Danielle hid. Something Daniel didn't know. Something that would flip the entire story upside down. I stared at the number for a long time. Then, with trembling fingers, I pressed call. And what she told me would change everything. The truth she never wanted me to hear. Some truths break your heart. Others explain exactly why it was broken in the first place. Backhand index pointing right asterisk subscribe, because this chapter uncovers everything they tried to hide. I pressed call with a shaking finger. The line rang once. Twice. Then a soft, steady voice answered. Hello? Is this Mrs. Lawson? I swallowed hard. Yes, who is this? This is Leah. The nurse who spoke to you outside earlier. My chest tightened. She heard the whole thing. She knew something I didn't. I steadied my voice. You said there was something I deserved to know. There was a long pause. A hesitant breath. And then the words that felt like knives. Yes. But before I tell you, I need you to promise you won't say my name to anyone. I could lose my job. I promise, I whispered. Another breath. Okay. I'll tell you. The secret behind the hospital door. I was the nurse assigned to Danielle, Leah began. I saw when you arrived. I saw when your son came out. Anne. I was there when Danielle told him she didn't want you inside. Her voice softened. She didn't say it kindly. My throat tightened. What exactly did she say? Leah hesitated. She said, I don't want her in here. She brings stress. Only my family stays. My eyes burned. I wiped my tears with the back of my hand. She didn't say I bring stress, I whispered, trembling. She said I wasn't family. Leah paused. Then said quietly. No, she said something even worse. My heart dropped. What did she say? There was silence on the line. Then Leah said the sentence that would haunt me. She said, I don't want that woman near my baby. I froze. My breath caught. My vision blurred with fresh tears. That woman. Not mom. Not grandma-to-be. Not family. That woman. Like I was dirt under her shoe. I pressed a hand to my chest. Because it genuinely hurt. Leah continued gently. Her voice full of genuine empathy. And I saw your face before the door closed. You were smiling. She didn't even give you a chance. I swallowed hard. Why? Why does she hate me so much? Leah hesitated again. Then her voice dropped lower. Because of the secret she's been hiding from your son. I froze. What secret? Another pause. A painful one. Then she said. She didn't want you to see something, Mrs. Lawson. Something your son doesn't know. Something she was terrified you'd notice the moment the baby was born. My heart thudded. What are you saying? Leah took a breath. Danielle refused to let you inside. Because she didn't want you to see that the baby. She stopped. I gripped the edge of my couch. Please, I whispered. Tell me. Another long silence. Then 5 words that cut deeper than betrayal itself. The baby doesn't look like him. The world goes silent. Everything around me disappeared. The room. The clock. The cold outside. Gone. My breath came sharp and shallow. What do you mean? I whispered. Leah spoke carefully. I mean, the baby has features that do not match your son at all. I pressed a hand to my mouth. He doesn't know? No, she confirmed softly. He thinks everything is normal. He's emotional and excited. I closed my eyes. He doesn't know, I whispered again. He has no idea, she repeated. And Danielle made sure you wouldn't be there. To notice before he did. A wave of nausea hit me. Like the room was tilting. Like the world was collapsing. Danielle was hiding something. Something huge. Something that explained everything. Why she hated me. Why she pushed me away. Why she wanted only her family there. Why she didn't want me to look at that baby. Not because she wanted privacy. Not because she was overwhelmed. Because she was terrified I'd recognize the truth. The truth she'd been hiding from my son. The nurse reveals everything. I shouldn't be telling you this, Leah said. Her voice laced with guilt. It's not my place. But the way your son looked tonight. The way you were pushed out. I just couldn't let you be kept in the dark. Thank you, I whispered, barely audible. She continued. I've been a maternity nurse for years. I know when something doesn't add up. She hesitated. And nothing about this added up. What do you mean? Danielle insisted on keeping him away from the baby for the first 10 minutes. Why? She said she needed to compose herself. But she wasn't crying. She wasn't shaking. She paused. She was whispering frantically to her mother. My stomach knotted. What were they saying? I couldn't hear everything. But I heard her mother say, "We'll figure it out later. Just keep calm." I covered my mouth. And Danielle said, "He'll never know unless Asichi sees it." My heart stopped. Unless Asichi sees it. She. Me. I was the threat. I was the danger to the secret. Danielle pushed me out. Not because I wasn't family. But because I was the one person who would immediately know something was wrong. The nurse risked everything to help me. Mrs. Lawson, Leah said softly. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But the way she treated you? It wasn't fair. And it wasn't about stress. I wiped my eyes again. I knew she didn't like me, I whispered. But this? This is something else. Leah exhaled. Your son is a good man. He deserves the truth. I know, I whispered. But hearing it from me he won't believe. He'll think I'm jealous. Or trying to cause trouble. Leah paused. Then said something unexpected. I can talk to him. I sat up. What? I can tell him what I observed. Factually. Professionally. Without emotion. My breath caught. But I need your permission. I nearly broke down crying again. Please, I whispered. He needs to hear it from someone who saw it. Okay, she said softly. I'll tell him tomorrow during rounds. Politely. Subtly. But enough to make him ask questions. I nodded, even though she couldn't see. Thank you. You don't know how much this means. I do, she said quietly. I saw your face. A mother should never be discarded like that. Especially not for a lie. Tears streamed down my cheeks. Good night, Mrs. Lawson. And please. Be ready. Tomorrow is going to be difficult. The call ended. And for the first time since Daniel was born. I didn't cry out of sadness. But out of fear for my son. Fear for what tomorrow would bring. Fear for what he would learn. Fear for the truth his wife hid from him. And tried to hide from me. But what Danielle didn't know was this. You can silence a mother. But you can't silence the truth. And the truth was coming for her. The moment he finally saw the truth. A lie can survive for 9 months. Until the moment the truth starts crying in your arms. Backhand index pointing right asterisk subscribe, because this chapter begins with a whisper, and ends with a scream. I didn't sleep that night. Not even for a second. I lay awake in the dark, staring at the ceiling. Playing every word of the nurse's call in my head. The baby doesn't look like him. She'll never know unless Asichi sees it. He doesn't know anything yet. My heart hurt for the grandson I hadn't even held yet. And for the son who had no idea that the biggest heartbreak of his life was waiting for him in a hospital bassinet. The next morning, the phone doesn't ring. I expected a call from Daniel. Maybe a picture. Maybe an update. Maybe an apology. Nothing. Not a text. Not a call. Not even a heart emoji. I was invisible. Discarded. Just like Danielle wanted. For a painful moment. I wondered if he would ever reach out again. But then. My phone lit up. Nurse Leah. My breath caught. I answered instantly. Hello? Her voice was low, urgent. It's happening. My pulse skyrocketed. What? What's happening? I just finished morning rounds. Your son looked different today. Tired. Confused. He seemed unsure. What did you say to him? I whispered. I told him exactly what I observed. Nothing more. Nothing less. My stomach twisted. What did he do? He froze. Then he stared at the baby for almost a full minute. I held my breath. And then, she added softly. He asked me a question that changed everything. What did he ask? Leah exhaled. He looked up at me and said, Does something look off to you? My heart cracked into 1,000 pieces. Because that meant one thing. He saw it. He recognized it. The truth Danielle wanted so badly to hide was finally reaching him. Daniel starts asking questions. Where is Danielle now? I asked. In the bathroom, Leah said. She's been crying. A lot. Crying because she's scared, I whispered. Yes, the nurse replied. She knows he noticed. I pressed a hand to my mouth. What did he do next? He pressed the call button and asked for me specifically. I closed my eyes. He trusts you. Yes, she sighed. And now he's asking questions she never wanted him to ask. My voice shook. What questions? Leah hesitated. Then. How long were we in the delivery room before I held him? Was I the first one to see his face? Did anyone else hold him before me? Did my wife say anything unusual during delivery? And finally. Do you think he looks like me? I sank into my chair, shaking. What did you tell him? I can't lie, she said firmly. I told him the truth. That I noticed what he noticed. And that he needed to speak to his wife. I swallowed hard. And now? Leah's voice shifted, quiet, tense, and foreboding. Now he's confronting her. The first confrontation. My hands trembled as I clutched the phone. I imagined it. Daniel standing over the hospital bed. Danielle sitting upright, pale and panicked. The baby in the bassinet, tiny and innocent. What's happening? I whispered. Leah told me everything. Your son walked into the bathroom. Knocked. Firmly. I could hear her walking through the hall, whispering as she moved. He said, Danielle. Open the door. Now. My breath caught again. And she said, Not now, Daniel. Please. He didn't budge. He jiggled the handle. And then he said the sentence that shattered every layer of Danielle's lie. Why doesn't our son look like me? The hallway noise faded. Leah's voice trembled slightly. Mrs. Lawson. She didn't open the door. My heart dropped. She locked herself inside? Yes. She's refusing to come out. My throat tightened. What is Daniel doing? He's just standing there, Leah said softly. He looks like his entire world is collapsing. I pressed a hand to my pounding chest. And the baby? I whispered. He's calm, she said. Sleeping. But Daniel? He was not calm. He's trying again, Leah murmured. He's knocking louder. Then I heard Daniel's muffled voice through the phone. Leah must have been close to the door. Danielle, he said, his voice cracking. I need you to talk to me. Please. Please just answer me. My mother's heart broke. He sounded like a child. A terrified child. And Danielle? Still silent. Still hiding. Still hoping the truth would magically disappear. It wouldn't. It couldn't. The second confrontation, and Daniel's breakdown. Leah lowered her voice. He's crying, she whispered. I'm so sorry. I hate that you're hearing this. My eyes filled. Thank you, I managed to whisper. For being there when I can't be. Then I heard the sound I dreaded. Daniel's sobs. Raw. Helpless. Broken. Why won't you talk to me? He cried. What are you hiding? What did you do? The bathroom door clicked. Not opening. Locking again. Reinforcing the barrier between them. Between truth and lies. Between reality and the story she constructed. Between a husband and the woman who betrayed him. Leah whispered. She's not speaking. She's not even making excuses. She's terrified. I closed my eyes, feeling my own tears spill over. Do you want me to intervene? Leah whispered. No, I said quietly. This is something they have to face. But please, stay close. I'm not leaving, she assured. He shouldn't be alone for this. I nodded slowly, even though she couldn't see. Then. He's sitting down now, she whispered. Head in his hands. He looks lost. My heart shattered. My son. My baby boy. Crying alone in a hospital room. While his wife hid behind a locked door. And suddenly, I understood everything. Danielle kicked me out. Not out of cruelty. But out of fear. Fear that I'd see the truth. Before she could invent a new lie. Fear that I'd look at the baby. With a grandmother's eyes. And recognize immediately. He wasn't ours. The text message that changed everything. As Leah continued describing the scene. My phone buzzed. A text from Daniel. Just one sentence. 6 words. But they shook me deeper than anything yet. Mom, did you know about this? I froze. He thought I knew. He thought I was part of this terrible lie. It all made sense. Danielle didn't just push me away. She painted me as the villain. The outsider. The one who brings stress. And now that the truth was unraveling, she wanted me to take the fall for her. Because if Daniel believed I knew, if he believed I helped hide it, he would stop trusting me forever. I took a deep breath. And typed back. No, sweetheart. I know nothing yet. But I love you. I'm here when you need me. No pressure. No accusations. Just love. The love she tried to erase. Moments later, Leah's voice whispered urgently. He's knocking again. He just said. Danielle, please don't make me find out from someone else. My blood ran cold. Someone else. That someone. Was me. Danielle was terrified. Because she knew I held the one thing. She couldn't lie her way around. A mother's eyes. And a grandmother's instincts. She couldn't silence that. Not forever. The door finally opens. Leah inhaled sharply. Mrs. Lawson. She's opening the door. My heart stopped. What's happening? Daniel stepped back. She's crying. She looks terrified. I waited. Silent. Shaking. Then Leah whispered. He asked her one question. I held my breath. What question? She exhaled. He said. Is he mine? The world fell silent. No breathing. No heartbeat. Nothing. And Danielle's answer? Would change the rest of the story. The answer that blew my son's world apart. Some answers destroy a marriage. Others destroy everything you ever believed about family. Backhand index pointing right asterisk subscribe, because this chapter hits like a lightning strike. I stood in my living room. Clutching my phone so hard my fingers went numb. Listening to Nurse Leah breathe into the receiver. Daniel's question echoed through the hallway of the maternity ward. Is he mine? Leah whispered. She isn't answering. My chest tightened. She's frozen, Leah continued. She's standing with her hand on the doorframe. And she looks. God, she looks terrified. I sank into a chair. Tell me what's happening. Tell me everything. I am, she whispered. I heard faint, shaky breathing through her phone. Daniel's breathing. And then Danielle's. The confession begins. She finally said something, Leah murmured. What did she say? Leah swallowed audibly. She said, Daniel, please don't do this right now. My heart dropped. That wasn't denial. It wasn't shock. It was a stall. A last attempt to keep the door shut. Literally and figuratively. Daniel's voice cracked through the line. Just answer me. Please, Danielle. Then silence. A silence so heavy that even Leah whispered. It's bad. I can feel it. My pulse hammered. What's she doing? She's shaking her head. She won't look at him. I blinked away tears. She can't even look at him because she knows, I whispered. She knows the truth. Leah sighed. I'm afraid so. Daniel's voice rose, painfully. Is he mine? His words echoed. Loud. Broken. Shattered. And finally. Danielle whispered. I don't know. The world collapses. Leah gasped softly. Oh God. I clutched the phone tighter. He doesn't know? I whispered. No, she said, her voice tight. She truly doesn't know. My son's voice erupted. A sound I had never heard from him in 28 years. A raw, animalistic sob tore out of him. You don't know, he screamed. How can you not know? Danielle started sobbing. It was a mistake, she cried. It was one time. I was drunk. We were fighting. You were away for work. I didn't think. I didn't. You didn't think, he roared. You didn't think about your husband? Your marriage? Your family? I'm sorry, she wailed. I'm so sorry, please stop yelling. But Daniel wasn't yelling anymore. He was breaking. I loved you, he whispered hoarsely. I trusted you. I married you. And you. His voice cracked. You kicked my mother out. To hide this? I covered my mouth as tears streamed down my face. So that was it. She didn't push me out because she hated me. She pushed me out. Because she feared I'd see the truth. Before he did. The ugly truth, she blames you. She's saying something else, Leah said softly. What? She said. If your mom hadn't shown up, I wouldn't have panicked. I froze. Daniel's voice erupted. My mom? My mother? Danielle sobbed harder. I was scared she'd notice. She has sharp eyes. She always judges me. She never judged you, Daniel snapped. You hated her because she wouldn't worship you like your parents do. That's not true. Daniel shouted. You pushed her out. So she wouldn't see the baby's face. And Danielle broke completely. I knew she'd figure it out, she screamed. She would have looked at him and known. Hearing that. Hearing her admit it. Felt like a knife sliding deeper into my chest. She didn't keep me out for peace. She kept me out. Because I was the enemy of her lie. The first shattered piece of the marriage. Leah whispered into the phone. He's asking again. What now? He's asking who the father might be. My stomach turned. What is she saying? She keeps saying, I don't know. She's crying hysterically. And Daniel? Leah's voice shook. He looks empty. Completely empty. I heard him whisper. Who did you sleep with? Danielle cried harder. I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? We went to a party. I was drunk. I didn't. Daniel's voice shattered. I can't do this. The sound of a chair scraping. A footstep. Then. He walked out, Leah said softly. He walked out of the room. My breath caught. Where is he now? He's in the hallway. And Danielle? She's collapsed on the floor. Crying. Her mother is trying to calm her down. I clenched my jaw. Where is her father? He's saying, we can fix this. Anger burned through me. Fix this? How do you fix breaking a man's life in half? Daniel texts you again. My phone buzzed sharply. A message from Daniel. His words were short. Cold. Painful. Mom. Can you come to the hospital? I froze. He wanted me. He needed me. But the last time I stepped foot there, I was treated like trash. Thrown out. Humiliated. I swallowed hard. Then I typed. I'm on my way. I grabbed my coat. My keys. My purse. And my spine straightened. As I walked toward my door. This time. I wasn't entering quietly. This time. I wasn't going to let them pretend I wasn't family. This time. I was walking into a broken marriage. And a shattered lie. With proof, clarity. And a mother's unshakable love. Arriving at the hospital, this time they can't stop you. When I stepped out of the elevator onto the maternity floor, Nurse Leah was waiting. Her expression was soft. Sympathetic. Mrs. Lawson. Where's my son? I asked immediately. She pointed down the hall. He's sitting alone outside room 416. I looked toward him. Daniel. My baby boy. Now a father. Now betrayed. He sat hunched over. Face buried in his hands. Shoulders shaking. He looked smaller than he had at 10 years old. I took a hesitant step toward him. Go to him, Leah whispered. He needs you. I did. Slowly. Quietly. Then my son lifted his head. Eyes red. Face swollen. Heart shattered. And when he saw me, he didn't speak. He just stood. And fell into my arms. And sobbed. Sobs that tore through him like an earthquake. Sobs that rattled the hallway. Sobs of someone whose world had just collapsed in front of him. I'm sorry, he gasped. I'm so sorry, Mom. I should have let you stay. I should have trusted you. I should have. I held his face in my hands. Shoo, I whispered. I'm here. I'm always here. He cried harder. She cheated on me, Mom, he choked. She cheated on me. And the baby might not be mine. And in that moment, I stopped being the mother they pushed out. I became the mother my son desperately needed. The call you didn't expect. As Daniel cried into my shoulder, Leah approached carefully. Mrs. Lawson, she said. There's something else. My heart stopped. What is it? It's about the baby. I looked up sharply. What about him? Leah hesitated. Then stepped closer and whispered. It's not just the looks. I gripped Daniel's arm. What do you mean? She swallowed. There's something in the baby's medical chart that Danielle didn't want your son to see. Daniel straightened slowly. What, chart? Leah nodded toward the room. I think you should both come with me. I felt my stomach drop. What is it? Daniel whispered. Leah took a deep breath. And said the sentence. That would take this story. From betrayal. To devastation. The baby has a medical condition. That doesn't match your family history. But it does match someone else's. The medical truth that exposed everything. Lies can hide from people. But DNA? DNA tells the truth without mercy. Backhand index pointing right asterisk subscribe, because this chapter is where the truth stops whispering and starts screaming. Nurse Leah led us down the hallway to a quieter consultation room. Daniel walked like his legs barely worked. Each step heavy. Each breath like it hurt him. I stayed by his side. His anchor. His mother. The one person who wasn't lying to him. When we entered the small room, Leah closed the door behind us. And took out a folder. A thin folder. But inside it? Enough truth to burn Danielle's entire world down. The medical condition. Before I show you this, she said gently. I need you to know something very important. Daniel and I both looked at her anxiously. This condition isn't dangerous. The baby will be fine. He just needs monitoring. Daniel swallowed. So he's healthy? Yes, she reassured. He's healthy. Daniel exhaled shakily. But here's the part you need to understand, she continued. This condition is genetic. I stiffened. Daniel's voice was barely audible. What condition? Leah opened the folder. And slid a page toward him. Your son has heterochromia, she said. Daniel blinked. What? Heterochromia, she repeated. He has two noticeably different eye colors. Daniel frowned deeply. But, newborns don't usually. They don't. They can, she said. Especially this specific type. And in this case. It's a type that is inherited. Daniel leaned forward. Inherited, from who? Leah locked eyes with him. It requires a dominant gene from one parent. And Daniel. You don't carry it. I clasped Daniel's hand. He stared blankly at the papers. What does that mean? He whispered. Leah spoke gently. But her words hit like a hammer. It means you cannot be the biological father. Silence. A suffocating silence. Daniel didn't blink. Didn't move. Didn't breathe. I felt my eyes fill again. Leah placed her hand on his shoulder. I'm so sorry. Then she added. And before you ask. Danielle does carry this gene. Daniel froze. And so does someone else. My blood ran cold. Leah lowered her voice. The baby's eye condition matches a man who was listed on Danielle's emergency contact forms under previous medical provider. She pulled out one more document. The name burned through the paper. Dr. Marco Reed. Daniel whispered. No. No, no, no. I looked at Leah. Who is that? Leah sighed. Danielle's ex-boyfriend. And her former co-worker. A doctor at her clinic. Daniel staggered back, gripping the wall. They dated in college, he said, voice cracking. They were on and off before we met. But she said they ended things completely. She said he was toxic. She said. She lied, I whispered softly. Daniel sank into the chair, shaking violently. The meltdown begins back in the room. As Daniel processed the shattering truth he never asked for. Leah's hospital pager beeped. Her eyes widened. It's them, she said. They're arguing. I stood. We're coming. Daniel didn't protest. He followed me down the hall like a ghost. As soon as we approached room 416, we heard shouting. Danielle's mother was shrieking. "Stop talking about it. We can fix this." Danielle wailed. "Daniel knows. He knows and it's her fault." Her mother snapped. "Blame his mother all you want. But you were careless. You caused this." A man's voice thundered. "If he leaves you, Danielle, this is on you." Daniel stopped in the doorway. His face was blank. In that terrifying way people look when they've been destroyed, beyond immediate repair. And then he walked in. The explosion. Everyone stopped shouting. Everyone froze. Danielle looked up from where she sat on the bed, red-eyed, trembling. Her mother stepped forward. "Daniel, honey," she didn't mean. Daniel held up a hand. "Quiet. Firm. Sit down." Her mother sat. Her father swallowed hard. "And Danielle?" She broke into fresh tears. "Daniel, I'm sorry," she sobbed. "I didn't want. I didn't mean. I was scared. Please listen." But Daniel interrupted her. His voice was eerily calm. "Why is Marco Reed listed on your medical file?" Danielle's soul left her body. Her face went white. Pure paper white. I forgot to update." Daniel snapped. "Stop talking." She choked on the word. "Daniel, you told me you cut ties with him." "I did." "You saw him behind my back. He helped me with appointments. And he helped you make a baby?" Her sobbing turned violent. Daniel shook his head. "You kicked my mother out. Because you were afraid she'd see the truth before I did." Danielle covered her face. "I didn't know what to do." "You should have told me the truth," he said quietly. "That's what honest people do." Her mother jumped in. "This is a misunderstanding. You two can work." "No," Daniel thundered. "This isn't a misunderstanding. This is my wife. Cheating. And lying. And using another man. To fill the holes in our marriage." He turned to her fully. "And you used my love to bury the truth." I stepped inside. The room fell silent again. Danielle locked eyes with me. Pure fear. Like I was the one person whose presence made the truth undeniable. "You ruined everything," she screamed at me suddenly. "You should have left us alone. You're always meddling." I stepped closer. "Do not blame me for the consequences of your actions." She covered her mouth, sobbing. Her mother glared at me. "This is all your fault." Daniel turned sharply. "No. If anything, Mom saved me from living a lie." He stood beside me. Closer than he had the entire year. His mother. His anchor. His truth. And then the doctor shows up. As if this moment wasn't already a firestorm. A knock came at the door. A man stepped inside. Tall. Dark hair. Medical coat. Confused expression. Danielle? I got your message. Is everything okay?" Daniel whispered. "Marco?" It was him. The other man. The real father. The one whose gene passed to the baby. The one Danielle panicked and texted while hiding in the bathroom. Her face turned gray. "Marco," she croaked. "Why are you here?" "You texted me," he said, holding up his phone. "You said it was urgent." Daniel's jaw clenched. "Why would she text you?" "From the maternity ward. During the birth of our son." Marco's eyes widened. "Oh God." Then he whispered. "Danielle. You didn't. Her mother screamed. "Get out." But Daniel spoke first. "No. He stays. He's part of this." Marco swallowed, his voice trembling. "Daniel. I'm so sorry." Daniel shook his head. "You? I don't care about. But him." He pointed toward the sleeping bassinet. "That baby deserves the truth." Marco nodded slowly, and then said the words. That finished everything. "Daniel. He looks like my father." Danielle collapsed into a sobbing heap. Her parents stared in horror. Marco turned away. And Daniel's last piece of hope shattered quietly. Daniel makes a decision. Daniel stood silently for a long moment. Then, without yelling, without crying, without hesitation, he reached into the bassinet, lifted the baby gently, held him close, cradled him with a tenderness that broke every heart in the room. Then he kissed the baby's forehead and whispered, "It's not your fault. You're innocent." His voice cracked. "I'm so sorry you came into the world like this." He handed the baby to a nurse, then took Danielle's wedding ring off her finger and set it on the table. "Danielle," he said softly, "I will always care about the child. But the marriage? It's over." Danielle sobbed harder. Her mother screamed. Her father cursed. But Daniel walked toward the door. Not angry. Not hysterical. Just done. And before he left the room, he turned and looked at me. "Mom?" I stepped toward him. "Yes, sweetheart? Can I come home?" I broke. "Yes," I whispered. "Always." He leaned into me and cried into my shoulder as we walked out of that room together. And behind us, Danielle's perfect picture finally crumbled in front of everyone. The legacy of a lie. The truth doesn't destroy families. Lies do. And this one ended everything. Backhand index pointing right asterisk subscribe, because this final chapter delivers justice with precision. When we left the hospital, Daniel held onto me like he was holding onto the last piece of solid ground he had left. His world had collapsed. In the span of 12 hours. A birth. A betrayal. A confession. A second man walking into the room. A child who wasn't his. A marriage that died in the delivery ward. But now? Now he was walking away. With me. Back home, the silence after the storm. Daniel didn't speak on the drive home. Not one word. He stared out the window. Eyes hollow. Hands trembling. I didn't push him. Sometimes silence is the only mercy you can offer. When we got inside, he collapsed onto the couch. I wrapped a blanket around his shoulders. Like when he was a little boy. He whispered, "Mom, is this my fault?" I knelt in front of him. "No, sweetheart. Nothing about this is your fault." He closed his eyes. "But I trusted her." "That's not a flaw," I said gently. "That's love." He finally broke again. Not the explosive sobbing from the hospital, but a quieter kind. A kind that comes after the worst part is over, but the pain is still raw. A kind that shakes the soul. I held him until he fell asleep with his head in my lap. The DNA test, confirmation. 3 days later, Daniel agreed to a DNA test. Marco also agreed. Danielle didn't want one. She tried everything to stop it. Crying. Threatening. Pleading. Saying it was trauma to the baby. Saying it was unnecessary. Saying it would ruin their family. Their family? It was already ashes. Daniel didn't budge. 2 weeks later. The test came back. 0% paternal relation. Daniel stared at the paper for a long time. Then said, "Okay." Not angry. Not surprised. Just resigned. Marco's test? 99.7% paternal match. Game over. Daniel files for divorce. Daniel didn't waste time. He went to a lawyer and filed for divorce on grounds of adultery, paternity fraud, emotional cruelty, deception during childbirth. Danielle was served papers while still recovering at her parents' home. I wasn't there, but I heard she screamed so loudly the neighbors came outside. Her family tried to spin it. He abandoned her. She was emotional. It was a mistake. He should forgive her. Daniel didn't respond to a single message. He blocked her number. And her parents. And Marco's. He shut the door on that world. And locked it. Firmly. The custody twist. This was the part no one saw coming. Daniel originally planned to walk away from everything. The baby wasn't his. The woman he married was a stranger he didn't recognize. But then his lawyer mentioned something. If Danielle wants child support from Marco, she will first try to claim you as father to avoid scandal. Daniel froze. And his lawyer added, "You need to protect yourself legally." So Daniel filed something unexpected. A petition to remove his name from the birth certificate. Danielle fought it. Of course she did. Because if Daniel's name stayed, her reputation looked less bad. She could claim the baby was his. Marco wouldn't be forced to take responsibility. She could demand financial support. She could pretend her life wasn't collapsing. She screamed in court. "He's abandoning his child." The judge looked over her glasses. "Mrs. Clark, the child is not biologically his." Danielle broke into hysterics. But the judge continued. "And Mr. Reed has already submitted to a DNA test confirming paternity." Marco sat stiffly in the back of the courtroom, his head buried in his hands. He looked like a man who regretted everything. Daniel simply said, "I just want the truth recorded." And the judge granted it. The public fallout. Danielle had always cared about image. Instagram perfect. Marriage perfect. Pregnancy perfect. Family perfect. Husband perfect. But now? The truth spilled everywhere. Her friends whispered. Her coworkers judged. Her clinic fired her quietly to avoid drama. Marco was suspended pending review for inappropriate contact with a patient before marriage. And Danielle? She spiraled. Her perfect world wasn't just cracking. It was collapsing. The day she showed up at your house. 3 weeks later. I heard frantic banging on the door. I opened it. And found Danielle on my porch. Messy hair. Puffy red eyes. Baby in her arms. Shivering and gasping for breath. "Please," she sobbed. "Please help me." I didn't move. She crumpled to her knees. "My parents won't talk to me. Marco blocked my number. Daniel won't look at me. Everyone hates me." She held out the baby. "He needs his grandmother," she choked. I stared at her. Cold. Unmoving. Finally I said, "I am not his grandmother." She sobbed louder. "Please, please don't do this. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I made mistakes. But you're the only one who can help me. No, I said quietly. I'm the one you tried to erase from your son's life. Remember? She cried harder. He needs family. I met her eyes. He has family. Just not through me. She broke down completely. Please, please, please. I stepped back and closed the door. Not slamming it. Just quietly shutting it between us. Because sometimes the quietest revenge is refusing to let someone rewrite your story after they tried to erase you from it. The final scene, a new life. Months later, Daniel rebuilt his life slowly. Therapy, work, gym, friends. He smiled again. Small at first, then real. There were custody arrangements between Danielle and Marco. Daniel chose not to interfere. One day, he asked me, "Mom, do you think I'll ever trust again?" I took his hand. "With time," I said softly. "And with someone who earns it." He nodded. Then looked at me. "Thank you for not giving up on me." "I never will," I said. "You're my son." He smiled for the first time, without pain behind it. That's when I knew. We survived. The lie didn't destroy us. The truth set him free. Set us free. And the family that once pushed me out now had no choice but to watch me and my son walk forward stronger than ever. Together.